Mark had been out of work for 3 months. His refrigerator was almost empty, and the rent was due in just a week. That morning, he decided to go out and drop off job applications, one last time. But as he walked, he felt a strong pull in his chest telling him, "Go to the old park." It sounded ridiculous. What could he possibly find there? Even so, with a mix of frustration and curiosity, he changed direction, not knowing that this small detour would become the first piece of a miracle that was only beginning. What was really in that park? When he arrived, he saw an elderly man sitting on a blue-painted bench. Nothing unusual, except that he seemed to be waiting for him. As Mark walked past, the old man lifted his gaze and said, in a firm voice, "God sent you here." Those words shook him to the core. No one knew what he was going through. He wanted to keep walking, but the old man added, "Sit down, son." Something inside Mark trembled. How did that man know so much? The old man began telling him very specific things about the job he lost, the anxiety over the rent, even the fear Mark had of failing his sick mother. There was no way he could have known any of that. "God saw you crying last night," he said. Mark couldn't hold it in anymore. His eyes filled with tears. But there was more. "Today you will receive an answer, if you obey." What was he supposed to obey? The old man asked him to walk to an old fountain and look behind one of the stones around the edge. Mark thought it was absurd, but decided to obey. When he moved the stone, he found an envelope with no name. He opened it with trembling hands. Inside was a card with a phone number and a short message. "Present this number today." Was it a joke? A scam? All he knew was that when he turned around, the old man was no longer on the blue bench. He had disappeared. Who had left that envelope? Mark called the number. A woman with a kind voice answered, as if she had been expecting him. "Ah, Mark, I was just about to call you." He was stunned. She explained that she was the assistant to a Christian businessman who was looking for a manager for a major project, and the profile matched his perfectly. She asked him to come in that afternoon with his ID. His heart was pounding so hard he could barely speak. What if it was too good to be true? When he arrived at the building, the first thing he saw was a sign that read, "By appointment only." The guard wouldn't let him in. His name wasn't on any visitor list. Mark began to doubt. What if all of this was some misunderstanding? What if the old man wasn't a messenger from God, and he was just believing nonsense? He was about to leave when the guard received an urgent phone call. "Mark, go ahead, they're expecting you upstairs." Who had called? Inside the office, the businessman looked at him with the kind of expression people get when they recognize something spiritual. "3 days ago, I dreamed of your face," he said. "God told me to look for you, but I didn't know how to find you. Today I felt I should wait for your call." Mark was frozen. Everything had a divine sequence. None of it was coincidence. God was weaving every detail of his story. What would come next? The businessman offered him a stable position with a salary far better than what he had before. And on top of that, an advance large enough to pay the rent and his mother's medicine. Mark couldn't believe it. He felt the weight he had carried for months crumble to the floor. But the businessman added something unsettling. "Before I accept the professional, I accept the person. Tell me what happened today before you got here." Mark told him everything he had lived. The old man, the envelope, the message, the obedience. The businessman closed his eyes and said, "God is calling you to something greater than a job. This is only the beginning." Mark felt a fire in his chest, a deep conviction that God was lifting him not only financially but spiritually. What did something greater mean? 2 days later, while walking through the park again to pray, he saw the blue bench. But this time there was an open Bible on it, marked at Isaiah 43:19. "Behold, I am doing a new thing. Shall you not perceive it?" No one was around. No one had placed it there. Mark understood. God had not only given him a job, he had restored his purpose, his faith, and the certainty that even when we see nothing, he is already at work.
Brother, sister, listening to this. Sometimes God asks you to do things that seem small, illogical, or even absurd, like going to a park, moving a stone, making a call, or speaking to someone you don't know. But behind those small acts of obedience, there are enormous miracles. God doesn't always open the door you are knocking on, but He always opens the door that He knows will lead you to your purpose. Mark didn't receive the miracle when he cried. He didn't receive it when he was desperate. He received it when he obeyed. And listen to this. Faith is not about feeling. It's moving forward even when you feel nothing. Faith is not about understanding. It's obeying even when you don't understand. Faith is not about seeing the way out. It's walking where God points. God is preparing divine encounters for your life. People you would never imagine. Provisions that were never in your plans. Doors you didn't see because you weren't looking from heaven's perspective. The question is not whether God can. The question is, are you willing to obey even when it doesn't make sense? God is speaking to you today. I am also doing something new in your life. Don't doubt. Don't step back. Don't give up. Obey. Trust. Move forward. And now hear this with your spirit. What God will do in you will not be just a blessing. It will be purpose. It will not be just an answer. It will be destiny. It will not be just a miracle. It will be a calling. God is not raising you just to survive, but to be a living testimony of His glory. If you've made it this far and this story is touching your heart, type in the comments, God, I also want to obey. If this story spoke to you, subscribe, share this video, give it a like, and comment your favorite part. Help me keep bringing stories and messages that build and transform lives. Your support helps the word reach more people.